I have been really curious to see how this fight goes down. I'm interested in Hiruhiko as a character. I like to see the dynamic between him and Chihiro, finding out that he is the same age, finding out his experience is oddly similar but different, finding out that there's more texture and more components that make up his character, obviously very early on, is really setting a great foundation. Admittedly, I am worried. Because on one hand, you can take this character further. You could perhaps make them be a consistent threat and reminder to Chihiro continuing through the story, a villain that he grows with. Personally, I love those type of characters. On the other hand, you could perhaps also just kill him off while getting the information needed to expand your knowledge to the Hishaku and how they actually operate. Take your pick. I am hoping that Hokuzono continues with Hiruhiko. I think a villain that adapts, grows, and learns over time alongside Chihiro, constantly battling back and forth, popping up within the story and backseating them, is a really entertaining facet to have. It's constantly evolving, constantly growing. As much as your main character grows, the villain grows alongside them. And Hiruhiko isn't the main villain of the story, just another component. Perhaps the most powerful thing that comes from his character is his ability to get under Chihiro's skin. It doesn't take much, but his phrasing, the words that he uses, and even his own personal experience is something Chihiro's perspective doesn't align with. Hiruhiko is putting them within the same group, that they are the same person, that they understand each other because what they've been through, the people that they've killed, the blood on their hands, yet clearly how they've got to that point, why they've killed people, the experiences that they have endured has been entirely opposites. This is what gets under Chihiro's skin, the perspective that he too is a killer. Factually, yes, that's true, but there is an argument that you can make that spirals into this big long conversation on what Hiruhiko is doing is both incredibly intelligent, but also really stupid. But in saying that, maybe it's just par for his character. Someone that thrives off an ego, someone that thrives off getting under people's skin in a really obnoxious way. And whether that makes them incredibly more difficult to deal with, so be it. Because it's exactly what Hiruhiko gets here. The last thing that you would want to do is get under the skin of someone wielding an enchanted blade that has a ton of experience, yet you do learn a lot from it. Perhaps that is what he's hoping for. But he's also incredibly passive, and I'm kind of a little bit disappointed. Not that I was expecting a whole lot more, but I was disappointed that, at least for now, and it's very early, his capabilities aren't really aligning with his attitude. What do I mean by that? Well, these two start to fight, and we know it's a 4v1 situation, so it's already in Hiko's favor. Yet he disappears. He vanishes from the fight using his paper ability, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, that's not the worst thing. Maybe he's just getting a better position. Maybe he's trying to get an advantage or an upper hand, yet disconnects from the fight entirely, leaves it up to the three remaining individuals, which are sorcerers, by the way. They aren't just grunts or peasants using the Datanseki stone, which is very different. Those remain fighting Chihiro. And of course, it goes as well as you would expect. These three stones have no real comparison to Chihiro, but I think that quality is also very important for us to figure out where these powers lie and like how many stones would you need realistically to take down an enchanted sword, and how much experience does that sword wielder need to take down said stones and potentially a Hishaku member. The small disappointment that I had is that Hiko is, so far at least early, a passive fighter. He's someone that seems more akin to being sneaky and stealthy and ambushy and using his obnoxious paper ability to get what he wants. He doesn't seem all too destructive as of yet, unless he starts turning those paper into bombs, which that odd passiveness is what surprises me. But it's not that it isn't intelligent. Arguably, it is the most intelligent thing that Hiruhiko could have done. And this is where I kind of find that confliction. Do I want a big meathead battle that's like this powerful guy versus this powerful guy, which is always great to see? Or do I want this powerful guy versus kind of offhandy, snarky, narcissistic, sneaky guy that doesn't really fight fair, that throws dirt in your eyes? Both have their values, and at least for right now, I'm liking what Hiruhiko is doing. I like his approach, I like his method, because there is a method to his madness. Him disappearing isn't deactivating the fight, but more so taking it elsewhere. So he walks into a cinema purposefully, mind you, to use it as a battlefield. And this is where I think the difference between them is going to really shine. I do think Hiko has underestimated Chihiro and the experience because he wasn't unscathed. Hiko also seemed confident that the 3 stone wielders, because they were sorcerers, would also be competent. They had the capabilities to draw out much more of the stone even if it is short-lived. Unfortunately for him, not so much. The fight itself is rather funny. I also like how it instantly goes up into the air because why not? That feels like the most difficult way to fight, but with the movement that Chihiro has, it's kind of a perfect situation for him. I imagine he doesn't even have to kick off or touch anything. He's just able to blast through the air, similar to how his fish does, just swims through it naturally. It's not that he can fly or float or hover, but the sheer amount of agility that he has within the air, which you think would be a massive disadvantage, he's comfortable within constantly. This is also a great environment for the Dantenseki stones because they just go crazy, throwing out all of these abilities, doing everything that they can. You'll notice, funny enough, as much as this is a showcase of 3 competent users with the stones, they don't really show all too much. This isn't the showcase like the previous arc because they are rather irrelevant. Even though they're different, they don't really compare to Kyora's son. Because of that, they're backseated quite a bit and the focus more so is emphasized on Hiko, which I find rather interesting. Instead, you see his paper abilities take the forefront, and Hiko, being that passive fighter, is watching the fight but also leading it and controlling it using his origami. I like that. I think it's pretty cool. Chihiro is unscathed, he doesn't even get hit, and he manages to kill all of them while still having injured Hiko at the beginning. So realistically, they didn't get all too far. The plan that Hiko had and the confidence that he had in other people with the stones, just not a good thing. But it does supply that said information I was talking about. That's crucial for Hiruhiko. The same way that Chihiro is looking for as much information as possible, so is Hiko with Chihiro and the swords. I think what emphasizes that a lot is the beginning of the chapter with Hiyuki emphasizing that they don't really have much information on the Hishaku, how they operate, what they do, who's a part of it, the big wigs, the small wigs, what do you do? We need more information, and Chihiro knows that, which is why, even though he's left his group behind, he's adamant to chase down Hiko to get as much information out of him as possible. What I like the most towards the ending is that Hiko is confident all the way through. He's calm, he's collected, he's honestly a little bit psychotic. I dig that, because he's still very much unpredictable. While he's playing passive right now, and you could judge him very early on that, which unfortunately I have just based on the impact that he has left, I'm not holding my breath for him. I think he will be capable. I think he's going to be an issue. I'm just trying to figure out how much of an issue. Do we continue to utilize him throughout the story, or do we get a good handful of chapters and then kill him off? Chihiro isn't playing around, he's still annoyed, and that can be utilized quite well to get under his skin. Imagine if Hiko just disappeared from this fight, he learned the information that he wanted and vanished. That'd be annoying for Chihiro, and it would add to that vengeance, vendetta, grudge that he holds to the people that completely disrespect him and his father, and the legacy around the swords in general. What is also important is the location of the fight. This big cinema that they're in, a big stage play, is seemingly the perfect environment for Hiko to thrive, using everything at his disposal to get in Chihiro's way. Saying that he has countless weapons to leverage, I assume he's talking about the humans surrounding him, being able to duck and weave in between everyone, and Chihiro can't attack safely. Clearly very problematic. Also puts the fight on a bit of a timer. Hiko needs these people around him to gain an upper advantage, to see what Chihiro is about. Then these people running out is on a short leash. Even then, the threatening aura is not really there. Like, the finale is kind of like, okay, he's psychotic, but I'm not getting like a I want to kill you type of vibes, or like I want to take the sword or even annihilate you. Even though that's the goal, that's the point. Even though he rocked up, up killing people, there's probably just a lot more to Hiko that we haven't actually seen in regards to his ability. I doubt it's just as passive as it's made to believe. And if we go back to the beginning where he took those very competent fighters and rocked up to the train location, potentially there's something a little bit more sinister there for his ability, and I wonder if it has anything to do with blood. There's no evidence for it, but just throwing out the idea, I wonder perhaps if, similar to the train situation, he uses human bodies as shields to hide paper piercing through them. So you can't actually see the attack because the human's in front of Chihiro, but the paper still goes through them anyway. Think of it like shooting a bullet behind a brick wall. You don't know there's a gun there, you don't know there's a bullet there, but suddenly you've been shot. Perhaps this is what Hiruhiko means. Specifically chose the cinema because the countless amount of bodies and the countless amount of paper that he could hide behind people in plain sight. This would be incredibly intelligent, kind of fit right up his alley, and also become rather scary and monstrous. I'm excited to see where this goes. I love the personality, I love the clash, I love the artistic merit that's going into it. It's beautiful and intriguing, and that is exactly what we need.